Hello, and welcome to this first lecture of this section on what is fundamental equity analysis in this course on a practical approach to fundamental equity analysis. So, what our purpose of this section is to help you understand basically what is fundamental equity analysis with an ultimate objective to help you make more money or for self or for others in the longer term. And long term we are defining as it could be a year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, 1 to 5 years, depending on what kind of framework that you have in mind. At the end of this lecture, what will you learn? You will learn, basically we'll give you an overview of what is fundamental equity analysis, right? Ready for that? Wonderful. So what do you think? What is fundamental equity analysis? All of you have some basic understanding of finance, and you have you know what is a balance sheet, what is a profits loss account, etc., etc. So what is fundamental equity analysis? Let's before we get into defining and understanding what is fundamental equity analysis, let's understand what is equity analysis, and then we will talk about what is fundamental equity analysis, right? Right. So there are a variety of definitions on equity analysis, and I picked a couple of them to illustrate here. One of the definition that says it's an approach to understanding what we are buying, right? By determining how much could it be worth at some point of time in the future. Along with that, knowing the risk associated in achieving that future value, and in that differentiating variety of ideas, variety of stocks from one another, and figuring out what is the best option for you considering the gain and the risk involved. And ultimately you would look for in this equity analysis something that is an acceptable risk for you, and it provides you a certain good level of return in the future as you see. In nutshell, in our view, ultimately it's about buying or selling or holding an equity stock. Now, this could be, so you have an equity stock or you have many equity stocks. So the equity analysis is to look at each of those and say, at this point of time, should I buy this? If I already have, should I buy more? If I have, is it a good time to sell, or I should just simply hold? And that is what we will focus in this course and in this module. And the purpose of doing that buy, sell and hold decision is to ultimately make more money for self and others, because that's the purpose of investing in the equity market, and the equity analysis is the route to doing that. What are the various types of equity analysis that you are aware of? Any thoughts on that? If you look at buy approaches, there are many types of equity analysis, and some of the conventional ones are what is in academic world is discounted cash flow, in which you would look at a particular stock, you would project their future cash flows and discount them back and see whether it is worth for you to buy. Similarly, there are traditional financial analysis models. There are advanced models like regression. There are price relatives and ratios, margin, ROE, and there are EVA models. So there are a variety of models that's available for you to look at and do equity analysis. From points of view of time horizon, we can classify the equity analysis into two fundamental areas, and that's where one is what is called fundamental equity analysis, and second is the technical analysis. The technical analysis deals with very short term. It could be a few days, it could be a day actually, or it could be a part of a couple of months. And most of it deals with derivatives, options and futures, and even short-term buying, if you're buying day trading kind of a thing, where you look at the moving averages, you look at the charts, you look at indicators and oscillators, and you make a decision whether that particular equity that you're looking at to buy, or should you buy in short term, should you sell right now, or should you hold. So that's the technical analysis, and it basically works on the trends, the recent trends, and there are, I believe, some reasonably good sophisticated models that can give you some idea of the buy, sell and hold decision. On the other side, if you look at a time horizon which is longer, a year to 5 years or even longer, what we get into is what is called a fundamental analysis. Here we do A few things: we look at the basic economic conditions in the country or in the economy that we are working, or where the stock is residing at this point of time. We look at the industry. We look at the finances of the company by doing a financial analysis and the future profitability. And we will talk a lot more about the fundamental analysis as we go forward. So these are the two broad equity analysis by time horizon. So what do we cover in the next module? So having looked at what is equity analysis broadly as a decision to to buy, sell, or hold to make more money for self and others in short and long term. We have looked at what are the types of equity analysis, and we know that fundamental equity analysis is one of the things that is required to make money in the longer term for self and others. So what we will do in the next module is we will look at what is this fundamental equity analysis. So thank you so much for watching this first lecture of practical approach to fundamental equity analysis course, in which we talked about started basic questions like what is the fundamental equity analysis, and in the first lecture we talked about what is equity analysis and what are the classes, and in which we found one of them happens to be fundamental equity analysis. So thank you again, and I look forward to see you again in the next lecture.